The Cowboys have done nothing but hand out flowers talking about the 49ers. Jerry Jones called this a measuring stick game. He said a win would be inspirational. He literally said, we're measuring ourselves against the 49ers. It's interesting. Like the Cowboys, clearly they're up for it. They have said, Mike McCarthy has said, this is not just a regular season game, all that stuff. Do you think the 49ers, that it means more to the 49ers as well, or you think that's just coming from the Cowboys end?
I think this game means more to the Cowboys than it means to the Niners, right? Because the Cowboys haven't been able to beat the Niners. And if the Niners lose this game, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're worse than the Cowboys. But the Cowboys, if they lose this game, like they're going to tell themselves, we can't beat this team. Can't beat the Niners. Our only chance to get to the Super Bowl is if we miss them at some point or someone else knocks them off. So it's a huge game for them. And I think it's interesting knowing like this Niners team has a distinct personality. Kittle, Juszczyk, been here 7 years. They've been like on the doorstep. They want their credit. They want their flowers. They've sort of accepted their flowers a little prematurely sometimes. And they have big, big egos. No disrespect. So I think the best thing to do when you play the Niners, who are really good, is don't say that they're not as good as they think they are. Say that they're better than they think they are. You know what I mean? Really, really play into their egos. And the Niners would be like, yeah. I don't know.
Albert, watching on YouTube, says this game is the Super Bowl for Dallas. It probably is, because we know they ain't getting to the NFC Championship game, so this is as close as they're getting. I'm fascinated this week because of Brock. Brock's playing the Cowboys again. It was his worst game as a pro against the Cowboys last year in the playoffs. Dan Quinn, I think, really has a better beat on Kyle Shanahan than other defensive coordinators around the league, whether it's because he worked with him, whatever the case may be. They scored 19 last year in the playoffs. They scored 23, I believe, the year before in the playoffs. Niners are putting up 30 plus on everybody else. So I'm fascinated to see what Brock learns and how he looks playing the Cowboys for a second time.
Cowboys are unique on defense because they have like the best pass rush or one of the best pass rushes. So you don't have much time. And unlike the rest of the league, which is playing sort of soft, 2 deep safety coverage, sort of encouraging the check down, the Vic Fangio defense.
Yep.
The Cowboys play a lot of aggressive middle of field closed, cover 1, cover 3 type stuff. The league has sort of trended away from there because the whole thing is, don't give up explosive plays, force the check down. Well, if you do that against the 49ers, Brock Purdy will beat you. I mean, he's proven it like time and time again. He's not really trying to go down the field that much. He'll take the short throw to Christian McCaffrey over and over and over again and kill you. So, I mean, like if that's the trend of the league right now, the 2 deep stuff, the soft 2 deep stuff, Brock is just perfect to destroy that stuff. Once you get a defense with a real pass rush that's actually playing aggressive and trying to take away the middle of the field and force you to go outside the numbers deep, I mean, that's the best way to defend Brock. Doesn't mean it'll work, but it was somewhat successful last time, 19 points when they faced each other.
I think Aiyuk is going to be huge in this game because he's somebody that can win one-on-one on the outside. Obviously, the injury to Diggs is massive. It changes a lot of what the Cowboys want to do on defense. But we're still learning about Brock Purdy, and I'm fascinated to see what he looks like in this. Now he knows what to expect. He seems to have picked up right where he left off last year. I mean, it's pretty damn impressive. Literally 1 incompletion last week. For years, we talked about how the Niners roster is so stacked and they have the advantage everywhere except quarterback. I'll just ask you right now, Grant, the best quarterback on the field at Levi's on Sunday is?
Probably Brock. I'm down on Dak. I feel like his best days are behind him since he broke his leg and got all that money. I feel like he's real tentative and safety first on the field and doesn't move that well anymore and commits a lot of mistakes. Brock Purdy doesn't. I mean, Brock Purdy has limitations, but he seems much more confident, much more courageous on the field than Dak at this point. So I'll take Brock. I mean, I think what's really interesting is that defenses have all sort of decided that Vic Fangio has the right approach. You should be playing 2 deep safeties and forcing the check down. It's like, because offenses will make the mistake eventually. How many quarterbacks can execute long drives consistently? Well, Brock's one of them.
Yeah.
He is one of them. So stop daring him to beat you that way. I feel like what happens is these teams don't really do game plan specific stuff until the playoffs. They're like, okay, well, these are our defensive principles. We're not going to change them for one game. Like, well, you better. You better against the Niners. Otherwise, Brock will, dink and dunk you to death, to use a pejorative. Like, they're effective if you're checking down to Christian McCaffrey and the defense is playing way back. Like, that's effective. You need to really challenge Brock. And I think the Cowboys are like the only team that has, and they're going to.
Oh, well, I mean, the right side of that offensive line is begging for Micah Parsons to just terrorize them. I would not want to be Colton McKivitz this week.
You remember what he did to Mike McGlinchey in the playoffs last year? He was airborne, parallel to the ground.
I've never seen that. And Mike McGlinchey is like 6'9", too. Mike McGlinchey is not a small human being, and Micah Parsons just absolutely annihilated him. How about this? CubeZB says, my girlfriend for 11 years is a ragingly passionate Cowboys fan. We can't watch our games together. Breaks my heart to see her cry. This game could end relationships.
I don't think it breaks his heart, though, because he had like the crying, laughing emojis. It was like a ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
I would hope. I think you guys are going to be okay.
If it's lasted 11 years and you've beaten the Cowboy, you've ended the Cowboy season 2 straight. I think you can get through it and figure it out.
I think so.
I wonder if you'll indulge me in a little bit of an exercise when looking at this game. We already talked about the quarterback. You said it was Purdy. The best running back on the field in this game is
McCaffrey.
The best receiver on the field right now in this game.
Aiyuk. I'll take Aiyuk over CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb is damn good.
Yes. I think career-wise, obviously, I would give Lamb the leg up. But right now, in this moment, I think it's Aiyuk. And that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. You know what Purdy's passer rating is when he's targeting Aiyuk this year?
Oh, it's perfect. Has he caught like every target?
17 of 20. Crazy, man.
Aiyuk has played in 3 games. He set his career high in receiving twice so far this year.
Guy is not messing around. And can I just point out, like, this is a real thing, and it's human nature, but like Kittle and Debo have gotten paid already. So I'm not saying they're complacent, but there's no way that they can muster up the hunger and the anger that Brandon Aiyuk has naturally right now. And maybe Aiyuk will never have it again, but this is a special time in an athlete's career. Like, this is it. This is the moment for Brandon Aiyuk. And he's just getting started. Like, he's going to keep doing this. It's going to be cool to watch this year.
Do you really think of what we can't really link it to? Maybe if you work on commission, I guess it's a little different, but like in regular jobs, your day-to-day performance, millions of dollars we're talking about for Aiyuk. Every game, there's millions of dollars at stake, whether he can perform, because he's going to, hopefully hit the free agent market. Like, that kind of pressure and urgency, you're right. It's different for Aiyuk than it is for Debo. It's different than Kittle. It just is. Yeah. There's no way around it. And he's crushing it right now. And especially, he's got to feel frustrated. He's got to feel like he was held back. Like, hey, I was always capable of this, but Kyle put me in the doghouse. We've had quarterbacks that could not get me the ball consistently. Finally, now this is my chance, and he's making the most of it.
And like, it's like Debo and Kittle have already had their come up. Debo had that incredible 2021 season. Kittle had the incredible back-to-back 2018, 2019 seasons. They grinded. They did what they had to do. They have generational wealth. So anything they do on top of that is gravy. Like, Aiyuk knows that this is the year. Like, all he has to do is grind and be focused and do his best. And in like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, he's going to get generational wealth. And maybe he'll keep playing the same way after that. But like, if anyone's ever had like a come up, that like during that time, you probably had a focus that you've never had for that thing ever. And once you make it, maybe it's harder to keep that focus because, whatever. But right now, if our human nature as a coach, just knowing what Aiyuk has in front of him, man, call that man's number. Call that man's number. You could trust him.